Hello and welcome to this video where we will introduce you to the Proven Compass framework. This framework will help you find a more suitable topic for your thesis more efficiently. The framework consists of four areas: readers, research design, research topic, and resources. It emphasizes two key takeaways that you should remember. First, at the very beginning of your project, you should not only decide on the topic you want to write about, but also consider which research design you will use, what resources are available to you, and most importantly, who your audience is. In other words, you should answer the following four questions simultaneously. Who is the audience of your thesis? What research design will you apply? What specific topic will you delve into? And what resources do you have at your disposal? The second key message is that it's best to answer these four questions in the suggested order. By the end of this video, you will understand why this approach makes sense. Let's start with the first crucial question you need to ask at the beginning of your bachelor's or master thesis project. Who is the audience of your thesis? Indeed, before you even think about the research question or a specific topic, we recommend you first consider the target audience of your thesis. In other words, who out there in the world could benefit from the findings and answers your thesis provides? Which group of people could gain the most from your insights? Are they finance managers, historians, environmentalists, or HR professionals? Define your audience as precisely as possible. This is very important because the value and quality of your thesis will eventually be judged by a specific audience, including your supervisor. It's not a vague, undefined audience that evaluates the worth and quality of your thesis. You might find this counterintuitive, especially if you think you should first decide on the topic or that you can write about any topic you want. However, professors and practitioners with their extensive professional experience are usually highly specialized and interested only in a specific range of topics. They in general also have a clear understanding of what constitutes a genuinely interesting research question within a specific field. As explained in Module 1, there are countless research gaps that should never be addressed simply because they are uninteresting and irrelevant to anyone. The writing process therefore becomes much easier when you shift your mindset from writing about the topic to writing for an audience. Each year, thousands of bachelor's and master theses, as well as journal publications, are left unread because they lack a clear target audience. And yes, your thesis will suffer the same fate if it's not tailored to a specific audience. To illustrate this, let's look at two concrete examples from former students. Laura, who pursued a master's in banking and finance, identified finance managers interested in integrating cryptocurrencies into their business models as her audience. This decision was based on her strong interest in the crypto industry and her desire to work in this field after graduation. Marcus, on the other hand, identified diplomats seeking new approaches to de-escalate conflicts in the Middle East, and he made this choice due to his keen interest in the Middle East and diplomacy in general. Now let's address the second crucial question that you need to focus on. What research design do you want to use? Once you have an idea about your target audience, it's essential to simultaneously consider what research designs you could use. Choosing the right research design and methods is truly a significant challenge for many students, given the seemingly endless number of methods available out there. But here's the good news. If you have already identified a clear audience in step 1, then the choice of suitable research designs becomes more straightforward. Let's explain this with two examples. Suppose you want your thesis to be of interest to finance professors and investment bankers at Goldman Sachs. Then it's very likely that you will use a quantitative research design, as these methods are used on a daily basis by your target audience in their professional work to analyze data and gain new insights. If, however, you identified sociologists and historians as your audience in step 1, you're unlikely to use quantitative designs or econometric models. Instead, you might lean more towards a qualitative research design like interpretative text analysis, which are more prevalent and accepted in these disciplines. At this point, it is also important to emphasize that choosing and developing an appropriate research design is probably the most crucial decision and activity in your entire bachelor's or master thesis project. Just as a good business model is the heart of a successful company, the research design is the heart of a good thesis. In the end, it's less about what specific findings you come up with and more about how systematically and flawlessly you produce those findings. Whether you refute or confirm a hypothesis is secondary. What matters is the robustness and correctness of your results. A good research design ensures this and is a primary focus for your supervisor when grading your thesis. Professors want to see that you can systematically and scientifically answer a research question. The result is secondary. In Module 4, we will delve deeper into research designs, showing you which ones are particularly suitable for bachelor's and master thesis, and how to find the right design for your thesis. We will cover all relevant design parameters such as data type, collection and analysis methods, research context, time horizon, and so on. For now, let's move to the third question. What specific topic do you want to explore? Once you have an idea about your target audience and the methodological approaches that might be suitable, you can start thinking about the specific topics or research questions you want to tackle. From our experience, it helps to think in terms of problems and challenges at this stage. Specifically, what unresolved problems does your identified audience have? If your audience are finance managers, reading the Wall Street Journal, for example, can immediately highlight dozens of unresolved problems and challenges based on which you can develop interesting research questions, such as what is the potential of blockchain technology for banks? How does generative AI impact the cash and liquidity planning of companies? How should investors adjust their investment portfolios in times of high inflation? And so on and so forth. Regardless of who you have identified as your thesis audience, there are almost always countless different topics you can delve into. Besides reading newspapers or talking to industry experts who can tell you where the current pain points are, we also recommend checking the topic list on our Thesis Navigator website, where you can browse through all available topics using various filters. Finally, let's address the fourth and last question. What resources are available to you? Besides clarifying who your target audience is, what research question you want to use, and what topic you want to delve into, it's crucial to check what resources are available to you. Specifically, ask yourself the following questions. What data is available to you? How much time can and do you want to spend on your thesis? And/or what personal experiences can you beneficially incorporate into your thesis? Why is this important? Well, if you don't verify from the start whether you have access to the necessary data to address your chosen topic and research question, you could waste months. And yes, this happens quite often, unfortunately. If you want to work with empirical data, it's crucial to check whether you have access to the required datasets or can realistically create them with a feasible time frame. Note that if you're collecting primary data, for example, through interviews or web crawling, you generally have to account for an extra 2 to 3 months of work time. We therefore advise you to think and act very strategically in this phase of your thesis project. Because one thing is clear, there's hardly any good dataset just lying around waiting for you to analyze it. If there's a readily accessible good dataset, it's likely been seen and possibly be analyzed by others before you. So think really carefully about the following question. What unique assets do you have? For example, if you have done several internships in private equity, you likely have a network in the private equity area that few students possess. It would therefore be strategically wise to use these contacts to your advantage, either directly through interviews or indirectly by gaining access to unique datasets. To illustrate this important step, let's have a quick look at our two student examples again. Laura, who had defined finance managers as her audience, leveraged, for example, her excellent Python skills and unique access to performance data from selected industrial companies to write her thesis. Marcus, who identified diplomats as his audience, on the other hand, leveraged his good contacts with Swiss embassies to secure high-quality interview partners for his thesis. In summary, when you start your thesis, you need to decide not only on the topic you want to write about, but also consider the research design you will use, the resources available to you, and above all, who your audience will be.